All right, welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today's guest. One, because of her energy. Two, because she's in beautiful Hawaii. And excited for you guys to meet Chelsea Taylor, who is the creator of Smile, which is a lifestyle brand that I'm going to let her explain a lot about. But I'm really excited about having her on and just sharing her energy with the world and all the things that she's excited about here at the beginning of 2019 and beyond. And so without further ado from me, I want to introduce you guys to Chelsea. And Chelsea, if you could do me a favor and share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am originally from Southern California, born and raised. I am the only girl with three brothers in my family, so I grew up very active. I grew up as a gymnast and got really into sports. I was a soccer player and then found my niche in track and field in high school, which led me to my first college journey in Provo, Utah on a track and field scholarship at Brigham Young University. And then after a couple of years of just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I wound up leaving, kind of just followed my gut and my intuition. I wasn't happy. I wasn't performing well. And I actually left and I went to massage therapy school. I wanted to work in sports medicine my whole life. And then the route that I thought it wasn't it from the beginning. Left, dropped one dream, picked up another dream. And so I graduated from massage school in 2011. I've been practicing massage therapy and coaching track and field in California for about the last 7 years. And I guess I just always had in my heart that I wanted to finish school. And the timing for that is very interesting because about 5 years ago, I tried to go back to Utah, to the first place that I started school. And long story short, just wasn't right. I was going to be working for them as a massage therapist. I was going to pick up my running stuff again. And then I moved back to California, and just this is where kind of Smile developed. And I can further into that in a minute, but truly just learning in my life how to be able to find what happiness means for me and kind of how to develop a positive mindset around life and around who you are as a person. And the 5 years that I've had before coming out here to Hawaii and developing Smile actually was my process of finding out who I was, who I feel that I'm designed to become inside and out. And the divine timing for me to be here in Hawaii has actually been a long dream of mine that I've wanted to do for a long time, and the universe just completely opened up and allowed me to be able to be here to continue my my dream of developing this program that essentially saved my life. So I guess that's a small introduction.
No, I love everything that you just said, and so inspiring. And I'm going to ask you about Smile in a second, because any brand called Smile is one that I immediately have a great energy towards. But everything that you said is just a really good reminder for all of us of just the adventure of life and how it's so unpredictable at times. Where you started off, with the track and field scholarship, and ironically, BYU used to be, not at the time that you were probably there. I know I'm a little bit older than you, but I went to San Diego State and played baseball, and BYU used to be in our same league in the Mountain West Conference back in the day. Yeah.
Yes, I was there on the last end of the whole Mountain West Conference before BYU went independent. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. But just to hear how your life took you to different, cities and states, and now you're in a beautiful place like Hawaii, which you just said is fulfilling a lifelong dream. Just so cool. It's just how we can know that life is always unfolding for us. And if we can take those experiences and, really just know that they're all happening for a reason, and, we'll, get lessons from them, but also we'll get unique, life experience where we know things now that we like, we know things now that we don't like so much, and really what our desires are, formed into, and, the path that we're on today wouldn't be the same without all of those experiences, even the ones that were probably really challenging while, involved right in the moment. And so, I love that so much. So now you're in Hawaii and you're developing this cool brand. Tell me a little bit about how this kind of came about. What gave you the idea to where you wanted to create, something like this and, what it's all about?
Honestly, over the last 5 years of just like picking things up, whether it was a magazine that I read or something I found on the internet, and just started piecing this whole program together. And I started analyzing my life. Okay, so I was the happiest and the healthiest when different elements of my life were in balance and in sync and flowing with each other. And right after I had started that nutrition program, I was dealing with I was helping to organize a program where we would go out and visit people and check on them and make sure that they were doing okay. And so I was doing a lot of service, and mentally I felt confident because life was good. And then physically I was in the best shape that I'd ever been in my life. And then financially I wasn't stressed. I was making good money. Things were good there. And then socially I was surrounded by great friends, great people. It was summertime, and so these 5 different areas of well-being, I connected to the 5 letters of SMILE. And so every single day, well, whether it was every day or just, throughout my week, I was kind of journaling down what I was doing in these 5 different areas of life. So spiritual health, mental, emotional health, physical health, financial health, and social health. And so, so after this journey of experiencing major anxiety and depression, I look back and know that I was given this, I view it as an opportunity, as a huge trial that I had to overcome, that now I can go back and help other people to be able to kind of deal with those things, because it is real. And unless you've truly gone through it, you don't understand sometimes how people feel when they're experiencing it. And it's interesting connecting with JoJo and some of these other people who've been through these same situations and overcame them. We're all starting to flock together with this like enlightenment, right? Of like, wow, like, okay, these are real struggles that we have, and the stressors in life that we have aren't necessarily going to go away. But if we can learn how to mentally deal with these things, I think that's our biggest trial of our generation is our minds, and taking control of our minds, because we have it all. We have technology. Life is good. We live in an amazing country. And I think the mental struggle of, even on social media being, you can start to compare yourself. And like, if you're not in control of your mind, it can take you to a dark place if you're not careful. And so smiling was seriously something that I almost had as like a scavenger hunt throughout my day, to be able to seek for those different things. And so SMILE for me was a process that I just every day would account for the small and simple things to help get me to reach that goal a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And so it helped me on a daily basis to be able to take a goal and somewhere that I wanted to be in my life. And to be able to kind of think backwards from that goal. What would I be doing if I was an Olympic athlete, and if I was doing this? And so school and Olympics was like still in my head, right? And so almost a year ago, and I kind of had given up. I got so much resistance from family, and I know everyone just wanted me to be to be happy, and that was hard for people to just say, Chelsea, just be happy. And sometimes that's just, it's easier said than done, right? So so happiness, there's a quote that I love that says, happiness is the object and design of our existence and will be the end thereof if we pursue the path that leads to it.
Say
And
that again. That's good.
okay, so happiness is the object and design of our existence and will be the end thereof if we pursue the path that leads to it. And that to me is like my life's like journey. Like, happiness isn't something I think you ultimately achieve. I truly learned that happiness is something that it's like a mental state. And the different principles of truth, like universal truths and laws, are these things that help you to obtain this mental state of happiness. And so for me, kind of once I was able to get through these trials of just mentally kind of struggling for a while on what I needed to do, I was in a couple car accidents. Like there's just things going, oh my goodness, this is relentless. Like these trials in my life, are just won't stop. And then but I had to teach myself how to smile and how to be grateful and have a mindset of being grateful for these trials and what good can I see from these crazy things that are happening in my life. And so once I feel like I really mastered that, like I knew that I had something very valuable to share with other people. And so I'm here developing some things, kind of, I wouldn't say top secret right now, but we're definitely in beta phase, being able to create a way to connect with how we utilize, our phones. If there's a way that I want to develop something that people can learn this process, maybe as a replacement for the time that they're spending on social media to work on their own life and their own goals and their own pursuit to happiness. So that's kind of the gist of it, is to be able to create a way to really take your time that you're given on this earth and to make the best of it. And so so Smile, and the website that I have is called realizingwhy.com, and it's just realizing with the letter Y. And I kind of chose that as like the first off, smile is really hard to get because it's everywhere, and everything smile has to do with like dental stuff and whatever. But it's kind of the process of I had to realize who I was in my life, and smiling was the process to be able to realize or bring my goals into a reality. And why kind of represents this millennial generation, and watching and having worked with high school athletes and seeing my nieces and nephews, I see this next generation that's coming up and what they're going to have to deal with. I think mentally, there's and just I want to be able to have something for them to just stand for and know that they're wanted and they're loved and that they have a purpose in this life. Because when I didn't know that and when I didn't feel that, it was a very, very dark time. And so why represents, knowing your purpose, like your why, WHY, and then also why representing the millennial generation. And so smiling is this step to be able to ultimately realize your potential and create that, that just dream life, whatever happiness is to you, and achieving that mental state. That's kind of the end goal of that.
Some things I'm going to share.
That's my journey. Yeah, please do.
I love it. No, thank you for sharing all of that, because what you highlighted is something that I always encourage people to look at when they have people in the world that they're looking at and they're like, wow, this person has done some amazing things. Or, almost, we like to put people, celebrities a lot of times on like a pedestal, like they're this like special breed of human being. And what I always encourage people is to also look at, some of the early years where it was leading up to the things that now we're looking at that they've created. But in their early years, it sounded a lot like what you just described. And like if I was to describe it, it's just there's all these twists and turns and ups and downs and highs and lows. And it happens for us all. Like life is never just, sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns dancing around. And if it were, we'd be really 100%. Bored. When we go to the movies, we like movies that we don't know what's going to happen. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that, or oh my gosh, I didn't expect that. And that's what keeps us entertained. If we went to a movie and we knew everything that was going to happen, we would get bored and we wouldn't want to stay for the end. So I love that you just shared that, because everything that you described, it's allowed you to be even more passionate about the things that you're creating right now, because only you, Chelsea, are uniquely equipped to create Smile the way that you're creating it, because you're infusing all of those life experiences that you've had up until now into them. And then as you continue to experience life, you'll infuse more and more and more of your energy into it. So everybody out there listening, I always encourage, you can only you can create the things that you're desiring to create right now the way that you're going to go create them, because nobody else has lived the exact same life that you've lived. And the same energy that's flowing to and through Chelsea and to and through me, call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever you want to call it, is flowing through us all. And we can point that energy towards anything that we desire and allow it to unfold. And the most important thing that Chelsea just inspired me was when it comes to happiness, happiness is a state of being and it's in the moment. And so, yeah, you can say, yeah, I'm a happy person. Well, that's great, but is your state of being happiness right now? Maybe you were happy yesterday, maybe you'd be happy tomorrow, but all we have control over in this life is the energy that we put into the world right here and right now. And it's just about being aware of it. It's not about being perfect. We're human. We're going to spend time feeling sad, feeling, all throughout, frustrated, worried. We've all been there and we'll probably be there again at some point. But if you can become aware of, okay, this is my state of being right now. My intention, if it is your intention, mine is to be happy, is to be loving, is to be passionate, is to enjoy life, knowing that tomorrow is not promised to me or to any of us. And so that's my intention. So I always can feel when I'm feeling anything other than that. And so I don't lie to myself.
Right.
If I'm not feeling that, then if that's my intention, then I want to move towards that. And the things that you're talking about when it comes to smiling, really good idea to move towards that. If your intention is to be happy, a smile is a really good place to start, and finding something to appreciate. I always tell people, if you want to feel good, depending on what you're focusing on, because at every moment of our lives, we're focusing on something. Right now, I'm focusing on this conversation with Chelsea, but you could be, focused on anything. And when it comes to that subject, depending on how much life you've lived up until today, you have a practice way of thinking about that subject. So maybe it's sports. Maybe you love sports. Maybe you hate sports. You have a practice way of looking at that. But if you're focusing on sports right now, if you can't find something about sports to appreciate, because if everything is like negative, like I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, the longer that you focus on sports, the worse that you're going to feel. Worse and worse and worse. Momentum will continue, and you can really make your whole day crappy because you've been focusing on something that you can't find anything to appreciate all day. So if you can't find anything, which there's always something to appreciate about everything. I always tell people, if you have a job that's really difficult, and we've probably all worked jobs that we weren't like super blissful about. I know I have,
Right.
but maybe there's like one coworker there where it's like you guys die laughing every day, and it's not everybody has a person that they spend time with on a regular basis that they just laugh with every day. So that's something to appreciate. So when it comes to the subject of job, if you can think about that coworker and the excitement of that, then that can allow you to have appreciation for it, which will allow the job that you really want or the career that you really want to be attracted into your life. How it's not going to be attractive is if you spend your whole time, your whole life focusing on all the parts of the job that you don't like. Hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Not only are you going to have a lot of crappy days because your energy is just going to continue to flow in that direction, but you're really more of a magnet as far as attracting more of what you don't want and things that you don't like and all these frustrations. And so my encouragement is if we can't find anything to appreciate when it comes to any subject of life, focus on anything else that you can find in the world. So many subjects that you can focus on. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what it is. Go out in nature. Just appreciate that you can breathe. That you can. I mean, it doesn't any subject other than the one you're on, or you can find something to appreciate. If that is your intention to feel happy, to feel good, or else again you're gonna have a lot of really rough days. So you
Yeah.
inspired that. You inspired all that out of me, Chelsea, with what you just shared, and I really appreciate you for doing so. Anything you want to add to all that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know what? It's like I remember being at that point, like knowing this concept and it being so annoying. And even my parents, you know, if I was, I mean, just because I discovered this idea doesn't mean I'm perfect at it. I think there were days where, I mean, I would write down, gratitude lists and I'm like, this is what they say to do. And that necessarily wouldn't like make me so happy because I was like, even maybe my attitude and it was like, oh, this is like obnoxious. But it was more of like, I remember that like being hard, like, okay, yeah, this is tough. And, you know, being able to find, anything that was, positive in my life. It took practice and it took practice for that to be able the actual workings of it to first stop and recognize and then shift that mindset going, well, at least it could be this. And it could be so silly, like like, yeah, I saw a butterfly or like something. But at these like really pivotal moments, those were like what I considered my moments of like a true smile, was like a tender mercy miracle, like just out of nowhere. That was like, whoa, like, okay, that right there, I know is something, that just made my whole day. And it's funny because like, I feel like, smiling is like so almost like it's cliche to say, just like smile at someone, but you really never know what just a smile could do for someone. We really, like, when we're associating with different people, um, we never know what someone's going through. And even when I go to, somewhere to eat, and, I've worked in food industry before, it is not a pleasant job, I will just say. And so, sometimes people think that, like, sometimes in order to help people out who are struggling, we have to give them something tangible or money or, different things. And if you don't have money to tip someone, like, ask someone what their name is, ask, do something to acknowledge someone else. And I think that's something that makes me so happy inside, is to kind of scientifically in the brain to get yourself out of your head and to stop thinking about, me, is to put the focus on someone else and to go serve someone else in just a small way. And those conversations that I started when I was, like, kind of just at, like, a very frustrated time, wound up being some of, like, people who were, like, really good friends of mine. So as I began this process to, I would just be very, hands-on about it, and writing it down, and I'd write these different experiences down. And then at the end of my day, I'd go back and see, what good parts of my day were. And I just was filled with so much joy and love as I started recognizing these little things, just like you were saying. And started putting my focus into that, instead of, me not being where I wanted to be in my life, and this and that, and putting myself back into the present. Because there was a time where I was, I'd go on social media and I would see, it would just make me sad to see, I don't know, it just put me in a weird, like, mental space. And so I just started focusing on the now. And then I actually started recording myself on Snapchat, and I would kind of, like, video record myself. This is for Instagram had their stories, and I would record myself and just kind of make my own story for the day. And then at the end of the day, I didn't care about anyone else's story. I'd go back and look at mine and review and remind myself of the good things in my day. And I started to just train myself to do that. And then at the end of the day, I was just, like, my heart was full. I was full of joy and kind of, like, satisfaction as I took action to seek and do those things, to find the positive things during the hard time. And so I got to a point in my life where nothing really in my physical situation changed, but my mental state changed, and I was at peace with my life. And that was, like, I think, one of the most powerful things, because, we are designed for joy and happiness, but we wouldn't have joy and happiness without the hard times. We wouldn't, everything has its opposite, right? And so if we don't experience, pain and hardship, if we're not broken down, it's like a muscle, right? If we don't work out and take action and get broken down, that mechanism of being broken down is actually what helps it to build. And so as much as I knew all this in my life, it was until I really put it into play and just had it just naturally flowing. And sometimes you can be in that flow in your life, and other times it's kind of a struggle. And but as you just keep doing those small and little things every single day to just kind of keep yourself back on track and stay focused on your ultimate end goal. So I'm just kind of following what the universe gives into my lap, and I feel like this opportunity is a dream of mine to be able to tell my story. And because I've listening to your podcasts and other things, that if it weren't for those people sharing their stories, it wouldn't have helped me to keep smiling and keep knowing that my dreams were possible. And so I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share.
This is great. What you're highlighting is, just for all of us, we all need the experiences that we've had in our life in order for us to be on the track that we're on right now. And I could see that so clearly, which is what you're describing. I want to also highlight a few things that you've said throughout that I've noticed are personal practices for you that I would highly encourage anybody that's inspired to. These are really good practices for Chelsea that helps her energy, that bumps her energy up. For instance, one she's mentioned several times is journaling, which writing always clarifies thoughts. So you have these thoughts all in your head, And then by writing them, you're getting more and more clear, and it's just feeling good as she's pouring all that out onto paper. She's mentioned that multiple times. I thought it was brilliant what you did with your story with Snapchat when you were describing that, how you were just basically creating a little gratitude video of the things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and sharing your day. That's also, really, really a good idea. Again, just little things that are bumping up, Chelsea's energy. And then what she said, probably more than anything, on this is she's trusted her gut. She trusted that intuition that all of us have access to. And, she went with it, and without knowing what the journey was going to look like, after that, but just knowing that that was the next step that she wanted to take. That is my best advice to anyone when it comes to making decisions in life is, if you have a pull, if you have an intuition, if you're open for the next step of your journey and you're inspired to do something, even if it's just connecting with Chelsea on social media, if you're like, I really love this girl's energy, I want to see what she's up to, I want to see what she's creating, I want to see what this smile thing is all about, I highly, highly recommend following her on Instagram, on social media, and being able to experience this journey, because the energy that others out in this world, I love sharing the planet with all of you guys, 7.6 billion of us here, and all of you guys are inspired to do different things in your life, create different things, and I just want to experience what those things are. Chelsea may not want to create the same thing that you out there listening want to create, and it's likely that she doesn't. It's likely that you guys want, because you guys have lived totally different life experiences. Same for me. However, I'm really excited for those of you guys out there, whatever you choose to create. I want to experience those. If it's technology that makes our lives easier, or if somebody out there wants to create something, we can snap our fingers and I can be over in Hawaii or, Bali or, wherever. For the meantime, I've positioned myself in the part of the world that I feel is blissful for me right now. But I'm just excited for what all of you guys are creating out there. And, we all play a part in this, this entire movie called life. And, the conversations that you have, like Chelsea mentioned, when you go out there and you give your energy to someone, which is always the only thing that we can control, is the energy that we decide to put out into the world. You just never know what that energy, that positive energy, that loving energy, that, that just happy energy that you can just pour out. Oprah says you can't pour from an empty cup. So she's always, wanting her cup to be overflowing. I love that. I've mentioned that on a couple of different episodes now, and I can't even take the credit for that. That was Lauren. Lauren, if you're listening to this, I have to remember what episode you were. It's never the tip of the tongue. I need to have a list of everybody that's been on, so I can be like, yep, episode. Like you mentioned JoJo. Shout out to JoJo, who was on this podcast, episode 11, I believe. I could be wrong, but it's just so much fun sharing the planet with all of you guys, and all of our energy plays a part, and you can inspire other people, and most importantly, by really knowing those things, like the practices that I just mentioned that Chelsea has, by knowing what those things are for you, what things you enjoy, what things make you feel good to think about or to do, it's going to allow you to fill your cup up, so to speak, so that you do have something to pour out, in your own life and also in other people's lives, and help uplift them, and then they can pay it forward, and they could that's how the world continues to evolve. We all play a part, and we're all connected with one another. So thank you for inspiring all of that out of me, Chelsea. So question that I have for you now that I've been asking everybody, and I just want to make sure I ask you too. I know you've shared probably bits and pieces of this already, but what really started me on my journey of wanting to share everything that I've become aware of in my life, and just knowing that sometime, no matter how long I'm here, long after I'm gone, I wanted someone that stumbled upon this information to potentially uplift them and impact their lives. So I just wanted to pour out all this stuff that I've become aware of, and that'll be a lifelong process as I continue to evolve. But for you, from everything that you've become aware of, thus far in your life, what is it that you'd love to share with humanity that you feel, no matter when someone comes across this podcast episode, could potentially impact them?
Yeah, you know what? I think it really is just as simple as just smile. I want to validate that life isn't easy, and like we have good times and bad times in our life, and it's really essentially a concept of never giving up. I think, like I kind of talked about, knowing kind of when to put something on a shelf for a little bit while. And I had a good friend of mine kind of teach me that and said, wait, maybe that's not for you, right now. But I think that's just, just be, be a good human being, just be able to, I know we're all striving to, discover our full potential, and it kind of sounds like this big ordeal, but ultimately just find what makes you just like vibrate so high inside, and find what makes you smile. I know it's just so cliche, but find what kind of keeps you in your center. And we've all got different stressors and different things in our lives that can kind of cause this inflammation effect in our life. And so it can be overwhelming as you discover this kind of personal development journey. I know some people I discovered it in my early 20s and going, what, there's all these things I can do to improve myself, and really kind of started to get to know my purpose is just have fun with it. Just be patient with yourself, and just know that there's other people who are really willing to help you. And I had people who I loved who, family, sometimes some of the closest people to you aren't always understanding of what you're really wanting to do. And, kind of having to separate from, what my family wanted me to do with my life, and then what I wanted to do was difficult. And it was a process, it was a journey. But as you discover what works best for you in your life, just like play to your strengths. You were given those gifts and talents for a reason. And, they're there for your own enjoyment and to help serve other people. And so, just, give someone a smile, a compliment, just acknowledge someone. I think that is if you're feeling down, that's the biggest advice that I have for you, is just to shift your mindset. I won't go into the science of it, but it shifts your thinking into, to another space of knowing that you're not alone in what you're going through. And just be open to other human beings on this planet. It is so fun to talk and hear other people's stories. And that's truly what smiling's all about. It's just acknowledging the wonderful, wonderful things we have on this planet.
Such a powerful message. I love that so much. And thank you so much, Chelsea, for sharing this time and this energy and your story. And I'm excited for people to be able to now follow your journey. And I'm excited to follow your journey and see what you're inspired to create. And I'm really thankful that you decided to come on and share your energy. And, from what Chelsea just said, my encouragement for everybody is, if you're inspired to, go on the next step of your journey, all that we really have to do, was everything we talked about when it comes to the energy that we bring into it, but just do what you can do with what you have from where you are. And that's always enough on, for that part of your journey. And the rest of the steps, the rest of the things that you need to know you'll receive those when you're ready to receive them, when you need them, and you'll have those. But for now, it's, do what you can do with what you have from where you are, and that'll always be enough. And, I'm excited for all of you out there, everything that you're deciding to create. I want to participate, like I said, and I'm just excited to see where this is all going. This is just the beginning of these beautiful conversations, and I've been having so much fun doing them, and I want to keep sharing more with you guys. Anything at all that you want to add before I close this out, Chelsea? You've been giving us so much good energy. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, well, I really appreciate this opportunity, and yeah, just how, it's just like, I really appreciated you, supporting one of my really, really good friends, JoJo. And then that led to us having this conversation, and it's just, we got to stick together. And I really, really appreciate what you're doing for the world, because if it weren't for podcasts like this, I wouldn't be where I am at. So if I can help someone else get to that point, wonderful. And you're that medium that it's going through. So thank you.
Love it. I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, definitely check out JoJo's episode out there for anybody listening. She's so much fun. And and that's how me and Chelsea met. Just her showing appreciation for me and for the podcast and for JoJo's episode. And then that's how I, discovered, who Chelsea was and wanted to talk to her too. So love it so much. Well, we're all in this together, guys. We're all connected, and we all play a part in this world. And all of you out there can be and do and have anything. I'm just excited to see where this journey takes all of us, and definitely encourage you to smile, have fun, enjoy the moment, because that is the only moment that any of us are truly promised. And if there is something that you have a pull, like Chelsea mentioned so many times in this episode, to trust your gut, that she trusts her gut. If you have a pull to do something, if you're putting it off for a time that really is not guaranteed to you. So if it's a pull for you right now, do it in the moments that you're guaranteed to have, because right now you have these moments guaranteed to you. So live it up, have fun with them, enjoy them. And that's going to be really what allows your journey to unfold, in the way that you want it to unfold anyway. All the stuff that, we're thinking about that might make us anxious, thinking about too far out in the future, you'll get to those things, and those things will unfold for you by focusing your full version of yourself, your full energy on the present, on right now, and then right now, and then right now. And then all of a sudden you look up a year from now and you're like, wow, I'm where I wanted to be. And I enjoyed so much of the journey along the way. And now I'm here. And now I want to go to this whole new place. And that's how it will always be. Like, we're always evolving. We always have new desires. And that's how it'll always be forever. So thank you again, Chelsea. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Continue to rate this and review this. Make it easy for people to find this, and share this episode with anybody that popped in your head that you feel would be inspired by everything that Chelsea shared. It was no coincidence that they popped into your head. Definitely give them that energy, and that energy will flow back to you. It always does. So we will talk with everybody soon. Have an amazing, amazing day. And thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Have an amazing day. Sweet. So much fun.
Awesome. Oh, so rad. I love it.
That was fun, Chelsea. You gave such good energy.
It.